Good morning and welcome once again to Presence of Light with Charlie Riverman Bergeron here on the southwest coast of Maine in the USA. I want to thank you all for your presence. It's always a joy to be here and know that each of you listen and tune in and are interested in what I speak about. What I speak about comes from my heart. It comes from my own listening to my higher guidance and is meant to help others think differently about what's happening in their lives and perhaps open their ability to trust their higher beingness as well. Uh, for those of you who know me, this is an easy thing for me to do because of my near-death experience. For those who don't know, then it's okay. Just know that when I speak not because I earn money from this or I seek fame from this. What it comes from is my pure desire to help others understand that they're not alone, that what they're feeling and what they're experiencing is much more than they think it is. And we are now in a place and time where we need to let go a lot of old traumas that have been buried deep within our, for lack of better words, our psyche, our sort of off the loop storage case. And we've stuffed it there, and it's coming out now because of the energy shifts in the planet and the universe, really allowing this to release. Much like I'm visualizing the volcanoes when they're not a full explosion, but they're just weeping into the atmosphere, all of that stuff that's within them that is no longer needed. And we are doing that as well. What happens in all of this transition is we begin to realize how much more like Mother Earth we are than how different. And all of which is going on for Mother Earth is really going on within us as well. That there is no separation. We can imagine that, we can plot that, we can justify our thinking, justifying our teachings and learnings, and convince each other that this is correct or the only way we can express this. Yet, when we understand that there's something far more than our words that explain to us every day what is happening around us, we start to listen to our hearts more than what the brain is receiving. And we begin to awaken and realize that the mind is beautiful and the brain is absolutely magnificent. Yet it isn't who we are. We are something far greater than that. That is only one part of us. And that we can operate at many levels without a lot of that working. The one thing we can't live without working is the heart. And we could say and look at that as a physical reality and say, well, you know, this is like the battery in your car. Your car won't start if you don't have a battery. Blessing you for your arrival. Thank you. But the reality is the car may not start. It's still a car. The physical body is still there. The reality for us, for our heart, it's more than just a battery. The heart holds all of the energy frequencies and processes them continuously, whether the brain is working or not, whether the tongue is working or not, whether the hands are working or not. And in that moment, we are alive. So what is life for you? Today's topic is optimism, enthusiasm, and trust. These three words, I don't seek to find something to talk about. When I get up in the morning, I ask and say, show me what needs to be spoken about. And my higher guides will always lead me to something relevant to what is happening. So this is where we are, wherever you are around the world. It doesn't matter whether it's morning or evening, but optimism, enthusiasm, and trust are the three key words for me for the month of March. And we can be in different places of the world. March in New England is certainly different from March in Australia. However, they both lead us forward into another season. So our seasons change no matter where we are around the world. That is a natural fact of our planet. Some of us are heading towards fall, and some of us are heading to what we call spring. So for me, it's spring, so it'll be the blossoming, the changing of the weather, the growth coming back. For those in the southern hemisphere, it's more likely to be the diminishing of that and the end of their beautiful production of food and things. So there's a different energy that each of us have to deal with in this transition of seasons. And the message was, this is what the message was, no matter what season we're moving into, we need to have optimism, enthusiasm, and trust. Three keys, a triad, if you will. And this is something for all of us to think about as we move through the cycles of planet Earth. That the cycles of planet Earth have been here longer than we as humans because it's part of the life cycle of planet Earth. It's not man-made. We can influence it, but we're not going to change it, no matter how many AI machines we have running. It's not going to change the weather pattern. We can change the weather patterns, but it's not going to do it permanently. So we have to remember that each one of us have a power of optimism, we have the power of enthusiasm, and we have the power of trust. Three powers. They're not just words, they're just not adjectives, pronouns, nouns. They are energy fields. And what we need to do is start to look at all of the words that we use in our language and in talking to each other as a form of energy. And it has a positivity or a negativity frequency. And we are the ones who flip the switch. So we can say a very nice word in a very meaningful way, or we can be sarcastic. We can manipulate with our energy fields the words we use. And we can make believe or have other people believe something just in the way we express it in either a positive way or a negative way. And what we're learning right now is that through the mainstream media, they are playing with words and they are playing with energies in order to strike us in our neurological bodies with energy that is going to trigger a frequency and a sort of a chain reaction of things that are not necessarily the truth, nor are they beneficial for the future generations of human beings. And this is where we have to come back into our own power our own sovereignty to say, I choose not to understand that in the way that they're saying that. I choose to see beyond it. What else can it bring me? Today's words were brought to me as positive aspects. So, as we move into the month of March, one of the first things that came up was this saying by Emily Dickinson. And because March is always a change, it's spring and fall, they're always change seasons. And she wrote this just little message. March is the month of expectation. And I am sure that many of you that I'm talking to right now are in that state of expectation at some level. Whether it's the oncoming of fall or the oncoming of spring, it matters, yet it's the expectation. It's the anticipation, the looking forward to it, or the not wanting to look forward to it. It changes our emotional stability, emotion, energy in motion. Whenever I say the word emotion, I'm always talking about energy in motion. I'm not trying to look at it from a psychological place. It's an energy form. And we have in our own sovereignty the ability to rule and guide our energy in motion. And nobody else has the right to manipulate that, be it for any reason whatsoever, because we are all of high value. This is what we've lost. This is what's caused pessimism, the lack of enthusiasm, and the failure of our trusting each other. We have been weakened by many things. And I'm not here to talk about who, what, when, where, why, and how. But what I'm trying to express is, can we learn to recognize in ourselves where that has happened to us? And can we sit with that long enough to look and say, I no longer need to think about this or look at this or react to this. That was then, this is now. And if it's happening now, I have the power and the right to change that for myself and everyone around me who are connected with me in love. Because to continue this pattern of behavior is always, it's destructive. If we do not come back to our sovereign self and look beyond what's playing out around us and start addressing what's playing out within us, we're not going to make this change. And we're just going to repeat, generation after generation after generation. We are the ones who have come here to understand this and to pave the way for the future generations. And I don't say that lightly. It's a big responsibility, and many of us don't want to do that. And I can certainly understand that. But those of us who do see that, let us become the leaders of the future generations to show them the way to correct the disfigurement. That's the word that's coming through. Disfigurement of who we really are. So, with that little lecture, I'll smile and laugh, and I'll get my show notes moved over so I can refer to them and still talk to all of you. So here we are. It's changing seasons, and changing seasons always bring up thoughts, planting flowers, or I got to rake the leaves, or there's always busyness in the changing of the seasons. And for most of us, it can be a joyful time because we're working with Mother Nature. For those of us who don't, there's always the vision of the changing of the colors, the changing of the temperatures of the air, the rainfall, the snowfall. All of those things have an emotional communication with us. And so some of us don't like winter, so we go south. Some of us don't like summer, and we go north. It doesn't matter what we like or don't like. The fact remains that the cycles of life on planet Earth are basically the same, over and over and over again. We can bank on those seasons. They may change in severity. We may have people who are messing with the weather, who are, for whatever reason, and disturbing the patterns. We have all of these things that are happening, how do I say it, to our atmosphere that are changing things. But Mother Earth is in charge of all of that, and can really, if she chooses to deal with it, she will. I look at Mother Earth as another sovereign being, and that may sound totally ridiculous. But what I've come to learn in the past 30 years is that Mother Earth is far more than just a lump in a universe, a pebble in a multiverse. It's a living presence. And I try to respect it as a living presence. And all of the changes that we as humans feel are earthly changes. When Earth's energies change, our energies change. When the waves of the sun's energy hits and creates high waves of electromagnetic fields, we feel that. We respond to the electromagnetic system of Mother Earth, and we respond to the electromagnetic system of the sun and other galaxies as well. Although that's not being revealed as it's being learned. It's being learned, and it's a problem that we as humans have always had, is when we learn something, what we do is we isolate it from common knowledge. And then we work on it, and it becomes power. And if we have the power over what is unseen and unheard, then we have the feeling of ultimate power. We have the ability to rule ourselves as leaders and conquerors. I guess that's not part of my life anymore. And I don't think most of us as humans really want to be conquerors and, leaders and owners of the world. This is what we're leaving behind. Because what is behind us is there to teach us what is not to be brought into the future. It's real simple. It's not brain surgery. So those earthly changes that we feel are possibilities. Possibilities within us that are seen or felt, but not yet fulfilled. Everything has the potential to be something amazing. Each one of you have the power and the ability to be amazing. It takes optimism, enthusiasm, and trust. This is when we start practicing those three words, our light changes, our energy changes. Things happen and you shake your head and you start to learn that synchronicity of things happening and you thinking them is not an illusion. It's just not a fluke. It's not a, it's a combination of energies coming together and manifesting something, because that's the power we have. We are creators, each one of us. We may not all create the same things, but we all have that power. And we can create love and light and grace, or we can call death, we can create death and defamation, pain and suffering. It's a choice. It's always been a choice. We have just played follow the leader with people who have a different way of looking at how life should be. So when we look around the natural world, okay, we can choose to be outwardly inspired. We go into the wilderness, we can be outwardly inspired. We can relax. We can either feel fearful of the wilderness, or we can feel that we actually somehow belong here in ways that just don't make sense, but you just feel like, wow, I wish I feel this all the time. Because in that moment, what we've done is we've let go of all of the programs. We've let go of all of the instructions. We've let go of the brain beating of, you must be this, you must see this, you must spell it this way. The rules and the regulations of what we call society. And we are now back in the wilderness, the nature of creation. As always, I explain, get out in nature, honor nature, trust nature. Even when nature seems to be doing something that's totally destructive, know that we are humans living in a natural world. It's not our job here to change the nature of Mother Earth. It's our job to adapt to the nature of Mother Earth in a more beneficial way for everything. Optimism. Watch what goes on in your natural world. Enthusiasm. Be inspired by what you see in nature. Trust. Trust your inner presence when you're in nature, and that it is speaking to you. And when we do that, everything starts to change. We are no longer separated from the weather, the seasons, the months. We're no longer guessing, do we belong here anymore? We are one with everything. Doesn't mean that we're not here to use things, utilize things, but we're here also to offer optimism, enthusiasm, and trust. That's who we are. Optimism in my show notes this morning here. Optimism brings us to seeking for the best possibilities that may occur on our living journey and charges our minds with many ways in which the best of our true self can evolve. The best of our true self needs to evolve. Our children's best of their true self needs to evolve. We don't need to be remanufactured, realigned. We don't need all of this stuff that we're being told we need. We don't need artificial intelligence. It is exactly what it is, artificial. It is not smarter than humans, nor will it ever be. It will be a library in a box. That's all it is. That you can speak with it, it will speak back to you. But there's going to be a lot of fiction in that. I promise you. So optimism is key. And I know it's hard, but bring that optimism back. Look for the best in everything. Enthusiasm. Enthusiasm feels different. Enthusiasm allows our energy to move from thought and feeling to a full physical and emotional reality. Optimism, as I see it, is meaning to be in favor of, to be in alignment in a yes manner. It's to be able to free flow with that optimism, with trust, which is our next word. Allow your enthusiasm to rise. I know sometimes we can get a little too over the top. So know where that is. Learn where that top floor is and say, oh, now I'm getting dizzy. Let me come down a couple of floors. Learn. And if you learn that, and you learn where at some point you're getting a little too out of control, you know that you can say, well, what is that that's doing that? And you can then relate to yourself in ways where you are the healer within yourself. Trust. Trust is a tough word, isn't it? Hard to trust these days. Hard to trust anything. Hard to trust ourselves. I laugh because I'm not any different than anyone else. I go through the same things that each of you go through. Pain, illness, lack of money, food, all of these things. We are all subject to the same things, no matter whether we live in a castle, in a private island, or we live in the ghetto of a poor nation. Different experiences, different formats, different forms, different things to deal with. But as living human beings, we're not that different from each other. The only difference exists is in how we think about each other and how we trust each other. Trust. This was our ancient ancestral problem, was trust. We can go back 5,000 years. We can go back down 10,000 years. We can go back as far as you want to go. Trust has always been an issue. And instead of making it better, in many ways, we've created more mistrust amongst each other than trust. Even our religions created mistrust. And I say that not to poo-poo your religious faith. I have mine. And yet I worship in many different ways because I can see the energy of worshiping and the energy of accepting a greater creator being or beingness than my physical human self, and relying on that as being a part of me has changed my life. And that changed by dying and coming back and experiencing something that I can't put into words. Fortunately, many people can. For me, there's only 3 words that explain it. It's called peace, light, and love. And any time I'm not feeling peaceful, I'm not filled with light, and I'm not loving and kind, I'm not human. I'm some kind of offspring that is trying to be something else than it really is, only because somebody told me that that's what I needed to be. And at this point in my age, where there's not many days left, I look at it and say, every day is important. Be who you are. Trust yourself. Even though your brain tells you, yeah, that's not going to work. That's not. Granted, there are some things that are foolish. Recognize them. Recognize when we're being foolish. Recognize when we're trusting in something that, if it fails, it's going to hurt somebody. Not just ourselves, somebody else. Let us trust that we are the caretakers of each other. Each one of us has a responsibility to be in the highest level of our beingness as much as we possibly can. So there you have them, 3 words: optimism, enthusiasm, and trust. My topic for today, it's there every day. It's just wanted to come up to the front. And just remember that the lack of trust within us brings us to the place of inner conflict, a place of confusion, and all that diminishes our full potential. So it's important for us to trust. So, as it's the last of the 3 words, it's also one of the most important. Optimism, enthusiasm, and trust. 3 keys to our future. May we seek them. May we allow their energy to flow within us without any restraints, price tags, investments, or may we not be made and turned into commodities. I leave you with that. Bless you all. Thank you all. I love you. I thank you. I respect you. I am you. You are me. We are unity. One heart, one love. For how long? Forever. Wherever you are around the world, whatever language you speak, whatever faith your teaching, sacred teaching is, I send you peace. I send you light. I send you love. Bless you. I may not be doing a talk next week as I have another engagement. But we'll see what happens. I may do it on another day or later in the day. Stay tuned. It'll show on Humanity Healing. And I will always, if I do a show, will place it on my own page, Charlie Riverman Bergeron, on Facebook. And I have a blog and a YouTube channel. So, yeah, you easily find me if you want to. I'm not hiding from anyone. Shine on. Bless you.